When it comes to making mashups, you can work in any workspace you want. I know that a lot of people within the mashup community work in Sony Vegas, and though it's great and you can put together your songs, there are limitations to the software. For example, if we have an acapella, what I find that a lot of people will do is that they'll stretch the acapella to fit the instrumental or vice versa. So we're just going to try doing that now.
Stand still. It's on tonight. You're all invited. No ticket.
Okay, so I stretched it to sync it. So it'll sound like it's in sync, but as the song progresses and the difference in time or the beats become more misaligned, you'll hear the difference. So that's not in sync at all. That's because when people do edits in the speed, or if they do the stretching, there are only so many intervals that it can snap to. There are only so many time intervals it can snap to, and when it comes to speed edits, it can only go to 1 decimal place. And if you do the math and finding the differential of the beats per minute, you'll notice that it actually goes into smaller and more finite decimals. So it'll sound like it's in sync, and then as it goes on it's not in sync. That's because it's not perfectly in sync. So what we're going to do is we're going to use our workspace FL Studio, and I know that some people who use Sony Vegas are reluctant to learn other software, and honestly that's okay. So we brought our acapella into FL Studio. Our acapella is 127 beats per minute, and we want to bring it to the instrumentals beats per minute at 115.5. So right up here where it says tempo, I'm going to bring it to 115.5. And one moment, let me just get this accurate. Okay, so it's at 115.5. Now I'm going to double click on the audio file, right click on time, auto detect, type in beats per minute. What beats per minute is it? 127. Resample. I go to Pro Default, or if you're using a newer version of FL Studio, it'll be like generic E2 or something like that. So now what we have here, select song, we have the acapella that's now perfectly in sync with 115.5 beats per minute.
Spread the word.
Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to export the file. We're going to call it whatever we want. And then, now we have our perfectly synced acapella that we can now bring into our workspace of choice and then get it synced properly.
Spread the word. This ain't a fire drill. No time to stand still. It's on tonight. I wanna see the girls go up, go down. Your time is running out. It's the last day on earth.
And yeah, that's how you do it. Now there are multiple ways to skin a cat. I'm just tired of seeing people, doing these, these cuts here and there, just to, doing the splits and then like going in and like trying to fiddle with it and all that stuff to get it to sync. Because if you get the speed of the acapella or the instrumental to the same speed as the other one, then you have no problem. You don't need to do any micro cuts to sync it. So yeah, that's just a common issue that I've seen within this community, and I encourage you all to do it this method if you're reluctant to learn other software. So remember, always multiple ways to skin a cat, and thanks for watching. See ya.